Rick, thank you for joining us. Just to recap what the Minister said, making pupils in the foundation phase repeat their grades is harmful and serves no purpose. According to experts, children who repeat, on the whole, gain absolutely nothing. You do not agree with this?
Well, of course, I do not agree with that because, you know, the foundation is very important. I'm sure you'll agree that when you build a house, the stronger the foundation, the stronger the house will be. And I think that the same applies in the terrain of education. If the foundation is not taken care of, in future you might experience problems, which is why we believe that, you know, government must do something to strengthen the foundation phase so that in the long run pupils do not experience problems. Because
what are the issues then in the foundation phases?
Well, the issue is that, for example, if you look at the teaching of mathematics in schools across the country, our country is not doing well. You know, when you compare South Africa with the rest of the world, I'm sure that from time to time you have read the reports by the World Economic Forum, as well as the trends in international mathematics and science studies, where South Africa came last out of more than 50 countries that participated. And, you know, for us, that is a cause for great concern.
Are you saying it's the teachers?
We believe that, you know, the challenge is with the system broadly. Because if you look at what experts have said, like, for example, Vygotsky has once said that, you know, children can only learn if the learning opportunities are within their level, you know, zonal, proximal level of their development. For example, you cannot teach grade 10 mathematics to a child who is developmentally in grade 6, you know, who is still at grade 6 level. You can't do that. So currently that is what is happening. Many of the learners do not have, you know, prior knowledge of subjects. That is why they experience problems, and at the end of the day, they are just, you know, sent to the next grade because of this existing policy of progression.
So what is your solution then with someone, let's say a grade 6 learner or a grade 4 learner that is struggling with his maths, and you can see that he's struggling, you can see that he's struggling to sort of comprehend the maths that he's being taught? What do you suggest to do with him then?
Well, I think that, you know, the current crop are struggling because of they did not get, you know, a good foundation. So what we are saying is that government must find a way to ensure that, you know, they go and look at countries that are already doing very well and look at the manner in which, you know, do the necessary research and check, you know, for example, Singapore mathematics, because Singapore is one of the leading countries in the world when it comes to the mathematics performance. In fact, in the study that was done, they were number 1. So we suggest that, you know, government must take out experts to go and, you know, learn from these countries that I'm talking about, so that they can be able to...
It's a curriculum issue. It's what's actually being taught, not necessarily how it's being taught.
But it cuts across both ways. If you look currently, the teaching and learning of mathematics, particularly in public schools, is still done in a traditional way. But currently there are private schools already which have already adopted the Singapore maths. And we believe that if government can also adopt it, you know, we can be able to move forward. Because, you know, in the long run, our children struggle even when they arrive at, you know, university level. Some of them, even though they've been progressed, you know, from grade 11 to 12, as soon as they arrive, they are unable to cope. You find that even the learner that has, you know, received level 7, for example, when such a learner arrives at the university level, they end up dropping out even at varsity level. And you can see that there's something that we are not doing right when it comes to basic education. That is why we're saying that, you know, it can't be correct that we neglect. Because if you say children between the age of 6 and 10 must just cruise through, it means actually you are saying even the teachers can just relax and not teach, because they know that in any case the learners will move to the next grade. And that creates a very serious difficulty for teachers who are already in the intermediate phase as well as the senior phase and the FET phase.
There's one thing we haven't touched on, and that's the role of the parents. I mean, at some stage you've got to try and make, I mean, I was not great at maths. Maths was a struggle for me. But it's also the way that it's taught in terms of making it enjoyable, and also communicating the importance of parents ensuring that their kids complete additional math tasks if they have to at home. That's also key in trying to get them ahead of the game here.
Yeah, no, the involvement of parents is very key, because currently you do find parents who simply do not even look at the books of their children. And that also creates a problem, because, especially in the public education system, because that is where you find that a teacher can have up to 50 learners in a class. And if a teacher has got 50 learners, it is difficult to monitor all of them. The teacher may not be aware all the time whether a child is behind or not. So the involvement of parents is very key. But we think that government in particular has got a duty to ensure that we develop our education to an extent that it can be able to better the lives of our children.
That's where we'll leave it. Hendrik, thanks very much. It'll be certainly a developing story here. Hendrik Makaneta, an education activist, just chatting to us about that announcement from Angie Motsega, and that pupils from grade 3, I think, through to grade 7 can just be pushed through